What does it take to become an award-winning composer? Today, rain falls on the house of Silas Brown, Grammy Award-winning engineer. Silas has worked with incredible symphony orchestras, artists, ensembles, and has even recorded scores for video games like Assassin's Creed. His work with mastering wind instruments, though, is what brings to his side a gentleman whose dedication, sacrifice, and world travels have culminated in the sounds being refined here today for his latest album. But who is the man behind the music? Who is Doulgas Knehans?
My father had a record collection, and I remember when I was a little kid, like, I don't know, 5 maybe, seeing this LP of a Brahms symphony. I don't know which one, but it had a big old picture of Brahms on the cover with his beard and everything, and I don't know why, but that just struck me, and I thought, wow, how cool. I don't know why. What kind of kid thinks, wow, that's cool? But I kind of did. But that's my first memory, my first musical memory was of that record cover. And then I never really even listened to that music. I remember the first time I heard the Bach D minor partita for violin. That was just captivating to me because I didn't know enough about music to really understand how that many sounds could come out of a single instrument, and it really just fired my imagination. Music just captivated me, and I thought, this is probably what I want to try.
So it's hitting the mains pretty hard, and then you can spot it.
I decided to start learning an instrument, and so I tried violin, and that was really hard and impossible, and I just wasn't physically suited to it. I tried the clarinet, and finally settled on the flute, which an instrument's got to kind of speak to your body, and you've got to speak to it, and you kind of bond with it in a strange way. And it seemed to me that that's what I was made to play. I had been playing about 18 months when I was at the age to start applying to university, and I didn't get in anywhere. And there was this new conservatory opening in the nation's capital in Canberra that had all of this arts funding from the government and a brand new building, and so I applied there, and they took a risk. I was working pretty hard though. I probably was practicing 6 or 7 hours a day and doing all my other coursework, so I'd get up early and practice, and then I'd go to school, rehearsals, and then have a little dinner maybe, and then practice all night till like midnight, and then get up the next day and do the same thing. So I was on it and driven. So I was living in Melbourne off commissions. I did that for about 5 years, and that was fun and good work. It was great to work as a composer like that, and under the pressure of time commitments and restrictions by whatever organization you're writing for, money for commissions starting to contract towards the end of the 80s. And so I felt I need to go back to school. And then I got a residency at MacDowell Colony, which is an artist colony in Peterborough, New Hampshire. I had a month residency there, and on either side of that residency, I came to New York City and spent about a week and started meeting people and was starting to be, I guess, recruited by Queens College. And at that time, they had a professor who was extremely well known, a Scottish composer called Thea Musgrave, a superb composer. And so they recruited me to come and study with Thea, and she was a spectacular teacher. I learned so much from her. So I got into the DMA program at Yale, and I studied there with Jacob Druckmann. And then after I finished at Yale, I got a job in Alabama, which was a contrasting cultural situation to being in New Haven. But that was great. I learned a lot being in that job for that period, which was about 8 years. But then, you know, there were some things that I wasn't happy about being in Alabama. You know, you're a long way away from things, and I wanted to try and move on, but I was, by then, a tenured associate professor, and your options were either to give up tenure or to give up your ranking as an associate professor and go somewhere else as an untenured assistant professor.
And that is exactly what Douglas did. He removed himself from a comfortable tenured position in Alabama and traveled to the University of Tasmania to face the possibility of starting all over. But sometimes choosing the road less traveled can lead you to the most rewarding outcome. Because within a decade, Douglas created the Australian International Symphony Orchestra Institute. There he achieved international prominence on the world stage. Today, Douglas is the Professor of Composition Scholar at the College Conservancy of Music at the University of Cincinnati, sharing his expertise and passion with the next generation.
Music has this power that the other arts don't have. You know, it's really impossible to look at a painting or read a poem or a novel or go to a dance performance and not get something from it without processing it with your brain. Whereas with music, the sound is so immediate that you could go and hear African music or Indian music or Chinese music or Balinese music or Western music, and it's going to affect you in a really primal way that almost transcends culture.